In Ring Out Your Dead, there were no less than 5 horrific murders in the sleepy village of Midsomer Murder. Over the years, the murder implements have ranged from a pitchfork to a drinks cabinet, liquid nicotine and toxic fungus.
When you murder somebody in Midsomer Murders with a candelabra, you don't viciously bash them over the head. It's a sort of straight-armed, carefully arranged bang, and they fall down. But the degree of how you do it mustn't be so it is a farce. It's got to be violent enough. I mean, Orlando Bloom got lunged through the chest with a pitchfork, and I mean, he opens the top of this stable door, and it's oomph, and I mean, and people think, oh, well, of course they didn't know who Orlando Bloom was then. Since then, we've tried to get him back for another go, but he's declined.
My very, very favourite murder in Midsomer was in Hidden Depths when Oliver Ford Davis was trebucheted to death. He was playing an arrogant and boorish wine buff, and he was pinioned to his lawn with croquet hoops, and bottles of his best Chateau Lafite were flung at him from the trebuchet. Well, his wife was wheelchair-bound and didn't like him very much, directed operations from a window overlooking the lawn. What a way to go.
Can I suggest about 5 degrees to the left?
And if that hasn't put you off, follow me to the most famous butchers in the village. In fact, we're only a few minutes' walk away from Watlington Church, which is set in Midsomer Murder. But in the episode called Judgment Day, this little butcher's shop was set in Midsomer Murder, which is only a few seconds' walk away from Watlington Church. As I remember, the butcher was a bit of a know-all.
You might want to talk to Peter Drinkwater. He's Mary Drinkwater's nephew, great-nephew. He came back to live in the village earlier this year, lived with her for a while, and then he moved into the old farm, Windy Whistle Farm. It's deserted now.
Peter Drinkwater.
Young lad, bit on the wild side.
Never pick a fight with a butcher. That episode, Judgment Day, featured one of our most agricultural murders. Death by pitchfork.
Jack?
There, that was Orlando Bloom coming to a suitably sticky end. Of course, Orlando is now a great star, and it's true that over the years we've employed many, many famous actors in Midsomer. Sharon Stone says she wants to appear in an episode. I'm very much in favour of that. But back to Midsomer. This country estate agent's office in Watlington was renamed Beauvoisin Estates in Dead Man's 11. This is a play on words, you see, because Beauvoisin in French means beautiful neighbour. But you knew that, didn't you?
We've just taken the particulars of a property that might interest you, Mrs. Barnaby. It's a converted post office in Fletcher's Cross. Very unusual. 2 bedrooms, a nice view of the green.
Yes, it looks very nice. Miss,
Beauvoisin.
Ah.
Of course, they do say that all estate agents are the same, and in Midsomer, they really are.
Olive, I'm just going to slip out for a little while.
Yes, Mr. Eastman. Shall I say where you are if anyone rings?
No, just tell them I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Very Very well, Mr. Eastman.
It seems that Olive Beauvoisin has been moonlighting. That clip was from Death's Shadow, and in that she was working for Badger's Drift Estates. Keen fans of Midsomer never miss a trick, and the writers like to put in a little joke like that, just to, keep them on their toes.
2 episodes ago we had George Cole and Sir Donald Sinden. I don't know if John told you this, but these marvellous 2 actors in their 80s, one from a posh family, one from a working class family, and I won't go into the whole storyline, but basically they're always at loggerheads. And there's a wonderful scene with Joyce and Barnaby in a pub trying to have a dinner. And there's this huge row going on because these 2 have been insulting each other, and they're now charging each other in wheelchairs with 2 French breadsticks and having a fight. And Barnaby gets over and says, if you want to go and kill yourselves, will you go and do it quietly? To bring those 2 actors together is quite something, and we actually have agents that phone us up and say we would like so-and-so to come and be in. We've even heard that Roger Moore would like to be in one, and the other day I was in the Waterside at Bray having lunch, and Michael Caine was sitting at a table. So I wrote on one of my visiting cards, "Dear Michael Caine, would you fancy being the next victim in a Midsomer Murder?" And he roared with laughter. He's put in his wallet, and maybe I could get him opposite Roger Moore.
But it's the killings that keep Barnaby and Troy in work. The stabbings and shootings, the poisonings and the drownings. These are the stuff of Midsomer Murders.
Certain murders we cannot depict on screen. We have to be a little bit careful. We had a body falling on a ploughshare, for instance, and obviously that goes straight through the body. It depends on the amount of blood. We had John Standing was murdered in his house, and when I looked at the rushes there was so much red blood. It was actually the brilliance of the blood that was a problem, and so I said, well, we couldn't do anything about it because makeup had done it properly and got the right coloured blood. So in the post-production we made it sort of dark red and toned the whole thing down, and that made it acceptable.
And with that bit of gory information, it's over to the churchyard at Bledlow, a village so old that it's mentioned in the Doomsday Book. In modern times, it has proved a fertile location for the Midsomer Murders team. There have been more than 130 suspicious deaths here since the series began. In Hidden Depths, one poor unfortunate was drowned when his head was encased in a television set, and the set filled with wine.
For another minute or 2 of your worthless con-man existence. What makes you think you have the right to destroy other people's lives, Mike? I'm going to have to hurry you. You can use your hands! I think you'll be getting there somewhat ahead of me.
We're on the move again in just a few minutes with more stories from behind the scenes and a look at some of the locations used in Midsomer Murders, including the infamous bell tower, where a vicar met his maker. Coming up next, a nasty case of toxic fungus in Midsomer Magna. And it's back in the USSR for the DCI. Welcome back. Here we are in the heart of Midsummer country. First, we're off to the cemetery in Badger's Drift, which is actually in the real village of Bledlow. In Destroying Angel, there's a graphic description of death by toxic fungus, where Roger Frost gives a wonderful explanation of what happens to the liver when it is poisoned in this way.